And welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize about the technical difficulties, but NVIDIA said it was time for a graphics card update on the streaming side of my production studio here in my apartment. But it's time, ladies and gentlemen. We're already in qualifying. We're following Big Bark, but I'm EV500. Joining me in the commentary box is none other than McAdams. Hello, McAdams. How we doing this evening?
Doing fantastic this evening. It's going to be an exciting race at Suzuka, and I'm happy to be back in the commentary booth with you.
I am very happy to be here as well, and I'm glad you're here. We are ready to go here, and we're already following Big Bark, who is on a timed lap right now. Let's see where he is at.
Coming through Spoon right now.
Yep, coming through Spoon, coming into...
Or excuse me, that was the hairpin.
The hairpin into Spoon, actually. We're at Suzuka tonight. This very, very fast track.
It's a very fast track, and it's a very twisty track. It's one of these where there's a lot of preparation and confidence that's required to get through this track in a reasonable pace to want to win the race. It's going to be a good challenge for all of the different cars. It's got a combination of curbs you can cut if you happen to have a good stable setup, and a good amount of confidence corners where you basically just got to white knuckle the steering wheel and send the car through as fast as it can handle. It is a notoriously difficult track, but a very, very fun track once it kind of clicks in your brain.
Well, I know this is a big favorite to a lot of people, as Big Bark now coming down the start-finish straight, putting up where are we putting him at in terms of time? He puts up a 2:02.1, and Ryan Barker, goes 2:01.6. So the amateur class right now pulling out some strings, so I'm hoping we're going to see some times coming in below the 2 minutes. Now let's go to... who's out there right now that's on a hot lap?
See here, we got Brandon Gobes is out there. Joe Rocky is out there right now, both on timed laps. We've got Ice Tin in the 121 Lamborghini that is also out on a hot lap right now.
Let's go to Brandon Gobes, who's coming through the S's in the Marvel, the Amazing Spider-Man Marvel, the Marvel's Amazing Spider-Man Lexus. He's looking to have a good race tonight. 2 weeks ago wasn't his strongest performance, but we've had 3 weeks of rain, it feels like, and tonight will hopefully be a break for everybody and get some dry racing. Dry racing will bring some entertainment tonight on Suzuka as Brandon Gobes. He goes a little bit wide, and there is an Audi out in front of him, and Brandon Gobes is gonna pull over as well. Timmy Wilkins is coming up right behind him in the BMW. Timmy Wilkins looking to have a strong finish tonight as well, McAdams.
Absolutely, and that's what we're going to be looking for a lot of the amateur class. It looks like we've gotten most of our presumptive, or what's the word I'm looking for, where they're in the middle class, evaluation class, have been put in their respective Pro and Am splits. Now that we've got all of that figured out, everybody who's landed where they're going to is going to want to really step up their game now that they're in their respective splits, start making a name for themselves and competing with the drivers around them in the similar class. Very fortunate for these drivers, we've got dry weather up here at Suzuka. Can be especially tricky in the wet, but it's going to give these drivers who have just been finished their evaluation series a good chance to make a strong first step in the new split that they've been placed into.
Timmy Wilkins now coming through 130R into the last chicane now, brakes perfectly. He is currently 1.3 seconds up on his fastest time, which is a 2:05.8. So this is going to be a pretty fast time for him. He's going to definitely improve here as he comes down the start-finish straight now and crosses the checkered line, the line, and comes up with a 2:03.8. So a very fast time, but it was invalidated because it did not improve it. That is unfortunate. We weren't able to catch the invalidation. Let's head over to Dave Grills now, who's second up on his fastest lap with a 2:04.3.
Going to be moving himself up that leaderboard right now, coming through,
130R now.
See how he handles this.
Brakes ever so slightly, does a nice job. He does have a great exit coming out of the chicane now, coming through the last turn into the start-finish straight, and he is flying now. He is still a second above his fastest lap. It's going to look like it's going to be a 203.3 for Dave Grills.
And that is going to be enough for him to snatch fifth place from Joe Rocky there in the Audi by just a little over a half a second. It's going to require a pretty good lap out of Rocky. Good improvement out of him to try and get that position back.
Jeff Fleischman, who hasn't had a couple of great weeks. He is looking for a good night, good race tonight in the Apollo Racing Club Audi. It is that golden ARC Audi livery. That is a beautiful livery, custom made for him. He is fast right now. He's almost a half a second up on his fastest time, which is a 2:04.4. And I know he's a fast man, so I know he can definitely take some of these guys as he comes in the spoon.
Absolutely, and the Audi is a notoriously difficult car. It's just kind of like the Porsche, where it's a great car and it's very fast until it decides it wants to kill the person in the driver's seat. But here at Suzuka, where it can take advantage of its really, really strong aerodynamic package, it's through all these high and mid-speed corners, it is going to be a pretty dominant car here.
As Fleischman now breaks into the final chicane, he is looking very strong here. He's coming through the final turn. He's picking up speed now, and he's now 7/10 up, almost a second up on his fastest time. And he is going to be in the 203s for sure, a 203.6.
Solid lap. Seeing some more movement on the leaderboard there. He's bumped J. Rocky down another spot. Let's see how J. Rocky's doing on his current lap. Or is he... He's on his out lap right now, it looks like. Going to try and answer those two. Coming down the final stretch there. See if he can't gain those positions back.
Going to Brandon Gobes now, who is on a hot lap. He's a half a second up on his fastest time, a 2:04.9. On his last lap, he invalidated, so he's definitely looking for fast time, especially in this Lexus.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is where you got to really give it your all here in the qualifying session. Once we get out into the race, you can focus a little bit more about pacing yourself and keeping things clean. But it really is all or nothing at the quali period during this, and it looks like we're going to start having the pro drivers making their way out onto the track now.
Yes, 10 minutes for the pro drivers to be 10 minutes at the 10-minute mark. The pro drivers do start coming out, and Brandon Gobes now puts up a there he goes now, 2:04.1. So that puts him up in the P8 in the amateur class, so not bad from him. So that will be his qualifying. All the amateurs now have to be done with their qualifying. Looks like everybody who is an amateur is out of qual, is back in the pit lane. So now let's go to our race winner last week, Tony Giordano. That is somebody we need to keep our eye on.
Absolutely, and it's good to see him in the pro class. The eval looked like he was absolutely going to land up there, so it's good to see him up there with the quicker drivers here. Give those amateurs a breath of relief for sure. But yeah, we will want to keep our eyes on him again in the Audi, which should be pretty strong here at this track in the hands of a driver who knows exactly what to do with that car. It is going to be very interesting to see how his race evolves as he's coming down the hairpin to get those tires warmed up to begin his hot stint here in about half a lap.
Well, I'm gonna be a crofty here and just tell you, look at this line here in qualifying of pro drivers. This is gonna get exciting. I feel like McAdams, are you ready to Martin Brundle this race this evening?
Absolutely, and I couldn't be more excited to see that's how it's going to go. Generally you'll see these drivers space themselves out a little bit, give themselves some room to work with so that they can focus just on pushing and keeping their line and going as quick as they can. But I think all of these drivers know now who they're racing against. We're into the fourth or fifth race of this season. I think fourth race. And they're familiar with these drivers. They know what to expect out of them. And if I were them, I wouldn't be giving them any space either. I'm going to be stressing these drivers out. I'm going to be pushing as hard as I can, get that solid lap in, and what happens. These drivers are out here to be the best of the best on this track, and they're going to fight for it as if they are.
All right. Well, just so we know, everybody knows, Thornton going the fastest man in the amateurs with a 2:01.3. I want to give him some credit there. But we're following along with Mr. Warden. He has returned this week on Suzuka. And McAdams, you were telling me earlier what he said about this track.
That is correct. It's Warden is known for being a pretty quick driver, and it seems as though a lot of times, regardless of where he's at or what car he's in, he is a dominant force to be reckoned with. But he has admitted today that Suzuka is not his strongest track. Has nothing to do whether or not he likes it, but just does not seem to have the pace here that he is expecting or out of himself. So we'll be keeping an eye on him to see if he's just kind of trying to lower our expectations, or if that does turn out to be true. But expectations are always high on Warden. We'll see how he does, admittedly on a track that he is not as fast at.
Yes, as now he is coming into Spoon. He's looking pretty fast now as he has put up a second on his Delta, which is, I would say, a pretty good thing for him as he comes up into 130R. In that Aston Martin, can you full throttle through, can you flat out 130R?
It's line dependent, and if anybody's going to pull it off, it's going to be in the hands of this driver right here. But yeah, those front engine cars, it really does depend. They don't have the air or the weight distribution advantage to try and sling them through there, but they are stable, and the Aston is known for being a particularly good car at the turn-in part of the turn. But here he comes, cross start finish line. Let's see what kind of lap time he puts in with a 2 minutes even lap time, which is not far off from what he was doing in the practice session earlier. He's off by about 2/10 off his best lap we've seen out of him today. We'll see if he can improve on that as we start to get some other cars cross start finish line. Alexis Moisen coming in with he's 3/10 off the pace there. A bunch of people coming in here setting laps all over the place, actually. Starting to look pretty good for some of those amateurs with those quick laps there.
Tony Giordano is now with a 202.4, not the fastest lap for him, but he is definitely going to be looking to improve there. Tommy Kogan coming up with a 2:07. Alexis Moison with a 2:04. Thornton still remaining P4 in the amateur class, so good for him. Going to Don Bellinger. He is a new driver here to Apollo Racing Club with Full Send Online Racing in that Lamborghini. He is now a half a second up. Let's see what kind of time he's pulling in. He's going pretty quick through here. Through the sector 1, he is now almost a second up on his fastest lap, which is a 2:02.3.
Absolutely. Sends it through those dangers, which can be kind of sketchy in a mid-engine car. They do like to, that corner particularly is a bit of a confidence corner where you got to send it over those curbs and hope to God that you've got grip in the car to make it around without running wide off the track, as that sand is punishing here at Suzuka. But it looks like he kept it nice and composed. He's coming up the hill now, goes through the hairpin, and he's getting ready to try and tackle Spoon, which is also another interesting corner here. Got to carry a lot of speed into it. The braking zone isn't very well defined, not a lot of great markers for it, but it looks like he's going to handle it perfectly well, as if he's been here a couple of times. Going to make a good exit down into Spoon. It does look like he's keeping that right on the limit there, and he's going to get a good exit down the straight coming up into 130R.
He is absolutely flying in this Lamborghini Hurricane. And that's a beautiful livery to see on that car as well. I like those kind of dark liveries on somewhat of a warm day. Track temperature 33 Celsius and 24 Celsius air temperature, and that's going to be a Ferrari off on the track, and hopefully that doesn't disrupt Bellinger. He's still 1.1 seconds up. What kind of time does he put up here as he comes to the line? A 2:01.2, and that's going to be fourth fastest for the man. And what a nice lap from him. Let's go over to Tony Giordano. He is looking to put up a fast lap. Actually, he was ahead of the man who just went fourth fastest and did not improve. Let's find someone else who is very fast. Chipsy in that Lexus. He is coming into the last chicane. He's coming into the final turn. And Chipsy has looking for maybe a top 15 tonight. Maybe a top 10 would be nice in his qualifying, as he goes 2:02.3 and goes 14th fastest here at Suzuka.
A good solid improvement out of him. I'm sure he's happy to see that. We got 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in this qualifying session. This is where the drivers are either going to say, you know what, I'm happy with the time I've got, or maybe try to squeeze in a couple more. Maybe even send it into the pits and see if they can, set another screamer on some fresh rubber here. But it's looking like we're gonna see our starting lineup here come race time getting set right now, with Melon Pitch coming in with a crazy fast time, taking 4th place there out of Bellinger.
Daniel Wright, a man who is very quick as well, somebody who can really take it to Warden in some of these races, is 1.4 seconds up on his fastest time, which is a 2:02.2. So he is not quite on Warden's pace tonight, but he is really trying to find some time as he's currently P12.
Yeah, and if he can keep gaining pace here coming into the final chicane, he doesn't have a lot more time to try and save any time on this lap. He finds a 10th there at the exit of the chicane. Will he continue to gain that delta, or trim it off rather, coming down the start-finish straight? Doesn't look like it, but it's going to be a strong lap out of him, moving him from P13 up into 4th place, taking it from Melon Pitch. You just said it a couple of seconds ago here with a 2:07.
Tommy Kogan moves himself in the P2 with a 2:0.2, so very fast laps from him. Dave Hassar in the BMW. He's currently P11. He is looking to improve on his time, getting to the top 10 potentially tonight with a minute to go here in qualifying.
Ooh, and runs wide on the exit of the S is coming up that hill. That is going to hurt him coming into the Degner's curves here, but let's see how he handles it for the rest of the lap. And just a small update on Wright, not far behind him on the track. Was a 10th up on his lap, but it looks like he did not get a great exit coming out of the S's. We'll see if he can try and carve just that little bit off of that lap time. All he needs to do is find 3.5 tenths, and he is sitting on pole for the start of this race.
Dave Hassar currently losing time on his lap. So let's head over to Joshua Kimball, who is in the Grid Finder Works livery tonight. This is for our, a huge shout out to gridfinder.com, who just launched a new website where a Grid Finder approved league. Find your next sim racing league at gridfinder.com. So a huge shout out to them and how hard those guys work. Qualifying, now the checker flag is out. This will be anybody who crosses now. It's over for them. Fife and P18, or Joshua Kimball, I should say, looking to improve on his time. Right now, 2:02.7. Last week, he had a great race and then just got kind of out of focus and out of whack, and that's going to be an off track from him, and that's going to end his qualifying. Anybody else we need to look at very quickly? Looks like Warden, who is trying to improve and secure this pole position, is currently a half a second up on his fastest lap.
Which is absolutely absurd, because with that 2 minutes flat, that is already a remarkably quick time. And to somewhere on this track find another half second worth of delta, really just showing the rest of the track, yeah, you know what? This is my pole position. I am going to make sure that I hang on to this. Gotta love the power move coming down to the exit of Spoon. 6 tenths up now. The man can he find the remaining 4 tenths to set a 159 even? If anybody's going to do it here today, it's looking like it's going to be Andrew Warden in that Aston Martin. Coming around 130R, making it look like it's easy for him coming down into the final chicane. He's now 7 tenths up on his previous fastest lap. Will he get a good exit out of the final chicane? Sure looks composed, but the Delta is disagreeing with us here. He's shaving off times, now down to a half second up. Will he find any more? No, he's going to hold it right there, coming up to the start finish line with the fastest lap of, it cut it off at exactly when he crossed the start finish line, but it would have been a 159.5 out of Andrew Warden there. An absolutely astonishing lap.
A huge lap indeed. And now everybody's time to get ready for the race here. Andrew Warden, your pole position. Tommy Kogan is second place. So the two Aston Martins locking out the front row, followed by Alexis Moison and Daniel Wright. So we have a race on our hands tonight, I would say, especially now. We got how many people on the grid? We got 29 people. So I would say a pretty full grid for a pretty fast race.
Absolutely, and Suzuka is just big enough to where these 29 drivers sounds like a lot, but they are going to have some room to breathe, assuming they're able to get separated out on the track. 45 minutes is not a lot of time for that to happen, but we'll see what happens. And another thing I want to point out, we do have two amateurs that have qualified in the top 10. We've got Thornton in the AMG currently sitting P7, and R. Barker there in the Nissan sitting in P9. So I'm too sure the two of them are very, very happy to see they've finished as well as they've done. We'll see if they can hang on to that throughout the race.
Ryan Barker in that Nissan. That's quite the time. I know Nissans do quite well. Who's the man in the Honda? That's Melon Pitch in P5. Doesn't surprise me to see a Honda this far up in the grid. But right behind him is Thornton in the Mercedes AMG P7. He'll be looking for a pretty strong race considering he's in that amateur class, and he did pretty well in qualifying, taking, I would say, provisional pole in the amateur class.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a hell of a qualifying lap. Definitely, I mean, with the, what was it? It was a 2:01, I think we saw out of him, which is not far off of the pace from these leaders. If we were to exclude Andrew Warden out of that, look at Tommy Kogan and Alexis Moisen's laps. He's just shy of a second from their paces. If he can hold that during the race, he's going to be looking very, very good at the end of this race out of the amateur class, which he is certainly going to be hoping for. But he's going to need to fight this entire 45 minutes if he's going to secure that.
Kieran Fox, the man who won the Formula E championship last night here at Apollo Racing Club, currently P13. So now the 30-second call has been made. So the final adjustments happening in everybody's setup. You're seeing the car starting to pop down. And we will be away on this formation lap. Any predictions that we should start making now, McAdams?
I don't know, but seeing Tommy Kogan and Andrew Warden, teammates in this league, holding first and second, both very, very competent drivers, we'll be seeing if they play the strategy of we're just going to defend as aggressively as we can and just not let people pack, and just try and secure that first and second for those two drivers. We'll be curious to see how they play that. We've got Daniel Wright and Alexis Moisen right behind him, who will definitely have the skill to keep right on their butts and keep them stressed out to see if they can break that front line. But really, I think all eyes need to be on Thornton and Barker this race, qualifying extraordinarily well, whether it's that this is a very good track for them, where they just really have the line and the pace on lockdown, or if they just qualified extraordinarily well has yet to be seen. But definitely always hoping for the best out of those amateurs who qualify well. I've been there myself. It's a very adrenaline-filled position to be in. Definitely wishing them the best throughout this entire race. But especially now that we've gotten everybody through their provisional assessments and gotten their licenses assigned, this is going to be an exciting race for everybody involved. For the amateur drivers who picked up some more amateurs, they've now got some additional competition they're going to have to deal with. And for the pros, they've got some up-and-comers who are going to be nipping at the heels of the fastest drivers out here. Going to be a very, very exciting race. Suzuka is a very tricky track, especially once you throw a whole bunch of cars on it. Should certainly be exciting to watch from our perspective as we watch all of these drivers get through this formation lap, warming up those tires, making sure they've got everything lined up, thinking about their strategies for the race, and just getting prepared for those green lights here in about 3 minutes.
BB, he is here tonight, and he is very far back. He is in P28. He is a very fast man, so hopefully we see him try and make a fight towards the front of the pack. I think he is somebody who can challenge Andrew Warden here at Apollo Racing Club as well. Well, the final moments here are on the way. I'm excited. It's going to be a fun, action-packed race. It's dry. It's nice to see the sunshine once again. And, there was somewhat of a virtual crowd there cheering on everybody as they are underway in the formation lap. So, and this weekend, quite a big weekend of racing as GT Europe started this week. Starts this weekend with the 4 hours of Monza. So and the virtual stuff. So as they incorporate ACC in as part of the championship now, you can get points by participating in virtual races in GT World Challenge. So quite interesting, if you ask me, as they come through 130R now.
This is the last chance we'll get to see them doing it slowly here, because this is a particularly high-speed corner. It's at the end of the longest straight line on the track, and it is more of a bend than it looks like here from the TV box cameras here. Those cars will be going around that corner as near as makes no difference, 200 kilometers an hour, only dabbing on the brakes just to adjust the balance of the car to get around that as quickly as they can. As they start to line up double file to kick off this race.
The top three in this race are all Aston Martin cars, and here we go. They're in the final chicane. They're told to slow down. The green flag is waving here at Suzuka. 45 minutes on the clock. Andrew Warden leads them down into the final turn, slowing everybody up to that 70 miles per hour. So everybody just getting double file. And get ready for chaos, because here we go. The green flag is up in the air, waiting for the go, go, go signal. And just waiting for Andrew Warren to cross the line. And here we go. Green, green, green. And away we go here at Suzuka as Andrew Warden takes an early lead. He's going to try and defend off Tommy Cumming, trying to go on the outside. But Alexis Moison goes on the inside. But Andrew Warden goes into turn one cleanly and absolutely does a magnificent job of taking that lead away from Tommy Kogan. Now looking farther back in the field, everybody looks like they got away pretty cleanly there through turn one, but we have to get through the S's now. And now we're seeing a big pile up now. Oh my Lord, what has happened? This is collecting so many cars. This is going to be Waffle Smacks. Dave Hassar, Dave Hassar has made it out, but that Tony Giordano made it through that as well. Who did that affect?
Oh man, that collected more than 2/3 of the field there. Now that we see a separation of quite a bit through a lot of these drivers. Wow, what a collision! I missed what started it, but that had most of the field wrapped up in it, and we have some massive upsets on the leaderboard now.
Yeah, a lot of people falling down now the leaderboard, and I'm trying to see if anybody has any damage from that. Can't really tell, but we saw some cars just absolutely just smoke each other and go side by side. We're not going to replay that because of our we don't have the technology for that, but if you want to look back on that, McAdams, you are more than welcome to see if you can figure out what happened there. But what an incident that happened there. Number 5, 166, 968, 121. So, yeah, the numbers are there, just so you know. But wow, a lot of guys involved in that. But Andrew Warden still leading this race. He is running away from Tommy Kogan now, who is almost a second away from him. Daniel Wright now also following right behind him. But guess what? Alexis Moison, he is trying to push as hard as he can. But guess what? There is a Lamborghini also behind him as they go into turn one. There goes Alexis Moison and down into turn one. Just loses the rear end a little bit and goes flying off the track. And that's going to be a free position now to Don Bellinger, who moves up himself up to P4 in his first race here at Apollo Racing Club. Now looking at other action throughout the track. Here we go. Ryan Baker, he was definitely involved in that mess. I want to see if he has any damage at all. Kind of a lot of guys got pretty banged up in that first lap. So Kieran Fox now in P7, and that Audi made it through the carnage as well. Looks like Thornton, he made it through the carnage. Dave Hassar made it through the carnage. And it only looks like Joshua Kimball in that Ferrari that has some pretty big damage on the front of it at least. McAdams, do you have anything for us?
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's a lot to cover, but it does look at the start of that collision. It was our two of our pro drivers, Pitch and Weltzel, were fighting over the entry of the S's there at lap 1, and unfortunately, they squeezed each other and just happened to knock the cars just right. They spun, and with all of the the entire race behind them, unfortunately, not having the time to react, it was just a pile up waiting to happen from there. Both cars making almost a full 360 degrees. And then from there, it's just front ends and rear ends getting knocked together. There's more collisions there than I could possibly name, but there are going to be some folks diving into the pits to try and get that fixed and get the remainder of the 45-minute race underway and try and salvage what they can from that early incident. That is, yeah, there's a lot of cars involved. At least 15 cars involved in that collision.
Oh man, well that is definitely no bueno situation for sure. Jeff Fleischman obviously caught up in that as well in that Audi, but so was Doug Wetzel, as you mentioned. Doug looks like he didn't take much damage though on his car, but Jeff Fleischman definitely took the brunt of that. But we're seeing this little nice DRS train still. These guys are staying close together and fighting here. They know what's kind of on the line here for some of them. Some of them, this is championship points. This is a potential spot in the championship as we are now hitting the second part of our 3-month ACC series now. And now the Aston Martin behind him, that's going to be Niall Drake, is also battling here with these three guys for P17.
Sorry, I'm trying to get recentered here. I just finished up watching that replay. But it does look like Melon Pitch had a significant amount of damage. We'll see if he is able to limp that back into the pits and get back in on the race as he's coming down into that second chicane right now. But looking back at the main pack, it does look like the drivers have more or less sorted themselves out. They've established where they are in the pack. Just trying to keep it clean and on the line is what it looks like they're doing after that big incident early on in the race. And to be honest, I would be doing the exact same thing. We've already got, there's two ways to look at it. There's either, hey, we got the big incident out of the way, now let's do some racing, or okay, let's be a little bit more careful. There's still 40 minutes of race left. We'll see how these drivers handle it. Looking at the Lexus there, fending off, who is that? Dave Hassar in the BMW there, and they are going to be side by side going into 130R. That is a dangerous corner to try and do it. Will they take it alongside one another? Yes, they will, with Dave managing to squeak by on the inside there, but it looks like the Lexus, because they got the outside there, are able to maintain their speed going into that chicane there at the end. But these two cars are not separated enough here for me to be able to say that one of them definitely is running away with it, because Hassar will be able to answer that Lexus getting through the chicane there with its superior straight line speed. We'll see what happens going into turn 1 with the BMW not really being able to take a breath of relief here, with the Nissan of R. Barker nipping on the toes as he spins out going into the first corner. He is going to be out off the track trying to find a way to get back on there, but with the majority of the cars just coming around that corner, it's going to be difficult for him to find a window. That is a real unfortunate mistake out of him.
Ryan Barker not having the greatest start to a race for sure, and Dave Hassar, he's slowly catching up now to Chipsy in the Lexus. Chipsy doing a great job going wheel to wheel, and I know these two, they're going to respect each other and race each other very hard. Chipsy, one of the guys who's I would say has a really good reputation. A lot of people like racing around him, so good to see some good clean battling happening through 130R. Let's go over to Don Bellinger now. His first race here at Apollo Racing Club, and he is absolutely flying in this Lamborghini.
And the Lamborghini, not an easy car to manage. It is a very aggressive car, and that can be either a massive benefit or a pretty detrimental boon depending on the driver in the seat. But Bellinger seems to be able to keep that Lamborghini Italian power under control as he's coming down the straight into 130R with Lexus Moisen nipping at his heels, with Thornton, our amateur, in 5th place right now, having an absolutely incredible race out of him. But Bellinger not getting very far away from Moisen there in the Aston Martin behind him, coming into the chicane. these two cars just fighting for that pole position. Alexis Moisen is going to be wanting to take that back from him to get that position for himself. Coming down the start-finish straight, these three cars right on top of one another coming into the first corner. Let's see how they handle it. Moisen is he going to dive up the inside? No, he's going to stay right behind him, stay on his heels, see if maybe he can get the exit on the outside. Defended nicely by Bellinger there, coming up, getting ready to enter into the S's. We'll see what Moisen does there behind him. Not a particularly easy part of the track to pass somebody on. Is he just going to stay right on his heels and keep him thinking? Make sure Bellinger knows, yeah, I'm right behind you, and I'm not going to let you take a deep breath. That is looking like how he's going to handle it, as Bellinger is just making mincemeat out of those S's, carving them up like it's nothing for him, and a very difficult part of the track to try and keep the car composed, and it looks like he's going to handle that very, very well, getting a good exit up the hill coming into the Degner curves. And well taken there with Thornton, not giving these two drivers very much room to think. Bellinger runs wide after the exit of the Degners. Is Moisen going to be able to get the pace to take it up the inside? No, but he is going to keep it nice and composed coming into the hairpin. And again, Thornton, our amateur, not far behind these cars. And if I'm him, I'm actually probably thinking the exact same thing that I'm sure he's thinking, which is I'm going to let these two battle and see if they take each other out and get the easy pass. We know he's already had the opportunity to do that once this race. We'll see if that strategy is going to continue to work for him as he progresses through the race. But absolutely phenomenal position for him to be in early into this race with 35 minutes remaining. 5th place, our amateur there.
Looking on board right now with Alexis Moison from the helmet cam. Beautiful imagery happening through here as they go through 130R. He is absolutely going through there flat out in 5th gear. Has to brake hard into the final chicane. He's getting a little bit of time. Can he find the pace coming down the final straight now? Because this is quite the battle. Ooh, Bellinger goes off now. This is an opportunity for Alexis Moison, who goes off himself. And now he is almost into that wall. And now Thornton takes the position away from him. And here we go. We got a race on our hands. McAdams and Beamby as well. He has made up a ton of positions, starting P28 up to now P11.
And that's what we want to see. We want to see a leaderboard that's changing a lot. It's and he just takes P10 away from Daniel Wright there. Oh, actually,
and he takes two
Daniel
positions.
Wright is in the pits. That's why.
Oh.
Daniel Wright is hanging out back there in the pits. Sure, he got damaged, and he's getting that fixed up. Maybe swapping out some tires so he can try and salvage the rest of this race for himself here. But what did I say? Thornton's probably thinking, I'm going to wait for a mistake and capitalize on it, and it's looking like that strategy is going to pay off with some gold for him. Now working his way up into P4 and still keeping himself on that rear bumper of Bellinger there in the Lamborghini. And it looks like putting some distance between himself and Moisen. I'm sure he's feeling great right now.
Well, let's keep an eye on Beamby here, because he is absolutely flying. Because where is he compared to Josh? He's only 0.6 off of Josh Kimball in that Ferrari. Yes, there he is. This battle is going to get very, very intense. I can feel it. Can you?
Oh, absolutely, because it looks like that Ferrari's got some damage to it on the front end, which is going to be hurting it. It is a mid-engine car. It really needs that front aero to keep the front planted. That's all the help it gets. And now he's got an Audi coming right up his chuff, trying to take that position away from him. I'm sure Kimball is feeling the pressure as Biambi not even giving him a fraction of a second to think. Yeah, right on. Look at that. He's going to try and send it up the inside, trying to get the slingshot off of him. Is he going to try it coming into 130R? It looks like he gets ahead of Kimball. They're going to go side by side in 130R. Biambi gets in front of him. Kimball almost shuts the door on him, but Biambi has the pace to get out in front and get away from him, using the arrow of that Audi to just smoke that Ferrari going through 130R, and he is going to continue to run away from it, exiting the chicane there onto the final straight, as if zero difficulty was involved in that pass. Absolutely remarkable driving out of Biambi there as he takes 9th place, and now he is going to be looking at Chipsy in the number 63 Lexus, 3 seconds in front of him, wanting to take that position from P8 and continue to work his way up the leaderboard.
Well, right now, Chipsy is having a great race. He is very comfortable tucking in behind Dave Hassar and Kieran Fox. Very tight-knit battle between these two for P6. Just want to update you, Thornton right now. He is having to take a battle here against Alexis Moison. They're going side by side, actually. Here we go. We're going right back into the action as they come into the hairpin. Alexis Moison, he has a little bit of a better line and almost takes a position, but Thornton, he's going to fight back. He has the inside line now. And he says, not today, Alexis. I'm going to take this myself, and I want to have that battle with Bellinger in that Lamborghini. As they come in the spoon, Thornton, he gets on the inside. He's defending quite well as they come down into the straight going towards 130R. And, ooh, this is a great battle for Thornton. Thornton, he's having to defend for his life. As you can see, Alexis Moison, he is sniffing the back end of this Mercedes.
I mean, at this point, Moisen's eyes are going to be watering from the exhaust fumes filling the cabin of his car as they filter through 130R. Looks like they both take it fairly well, coming into the braking zone of the final chicane. And they're going to stay there in 4th and 5th position, respectively. Thornton having the defense of a lifetime right now, with Alexis Moisen absolutely battling inch for inch, trying to get that position back so he can sit P4 and take it away from our amateur here. He looks like that battle did have its toll on his lap time there, setting a 2:03, about a second and a half off of his previous fastest lap. We'll see if he can compose himself and get that fast pace back under the wheels here and get nipping at Bellinger for a pole finish here, who looks like he has put about 2-second gap between the two of them, and it looks like a stop and go 30 has been handed out for speeding in the pit lane. I did not see who that went to, but that is an unfortunate penalty to rack up in such a short race.
Well, there was another accident that happened. It looks like on the highlighted report here, but I'm going to keep our eyes with Thornton in this battle with Alexis Moison as they are battling coming into the hairpin. Last time they were going side by side through here. Thornton has the position currently as he takes the inside line into the hairpin, but he goes wide, and that's an opportunity now for Alexis Moison. They're going wheel to wheel. Thornton's going to fight back with that Mercedes-powered engine, and he just flies by him. Much better grip coming out of the hairpin. Very surprising considering that Thornton got loose, and now Thornton, he's taking in the inside line. He's defending very well against Alexis Moison. They're heading through Spoon and driving away. And now Bellinger, he's going to go a little bit wide as well. That's going to be an opportunity for Thornton and Alexis Moison to catch up now, maybe pick up a little bit of a draft as they come in to 130R. This is Suzuka. This is the probably one of the most famous tracks in motorsports, is the Suzuka International Circuit. And now the hard braking zone. And now the gap is starting to come up a little bit now as Thornton, he's able to find a little bit of a gap on Alexis Moison and decrease the gap to Don Bellinger in that Lamborghini. Thornton, he is trying to just find a way to defend and attack at the same time. And that's the greatest part about motorsports, I would say, McAdams, is the comfortability and the fight between attacking and defending at the same time.
Yeah, and the mental toll it takes on these drivers too. It is one of the most it's already difficult to focus on driving a track like Suzuka quickly, and to have this remarkable pace we're seeing out of these three cars battling for third position. But then to think about, okay, well, now I got to pass somebody. Okay, that adds a whole other layer on top of it. Now I can't just worry about my pace. I got to be analyzing the driver in front of me, find out where his car's weak, where his line is not as good as mine is, and then to throw on top of that, okay, I've got a car nipping at my heels. If I'm Thornton right now, he's probably one of the hardest working drivers on this track right now, having an absolutely astonishing pace for an amateur racer here, and having two of the fastest pro drivers that he's sandwiched in between. That man's brain has got to be working on overdrive right now as he comes through the hairpin, and it looks like, oh, a little bit of contact between him and Alexis Moison. What is going to happen coming? He's going to have a wide line through here, and they're going to stay side by side coming into Spoon, although it looks like Moison is going to be able to take it away from him. All of that Mercedes power not doing him very much good on the outside line as they come into Spoon. What is going to happen here? and it looks like the two of them are going to leave a bit of a gap there. Not sure what happened with the bit of contact there, but it looks like it's paid off well for Alexis Moisen in that Aston Martin. But the question is Thornton going to answer that with that Mercedes power we've seen on a couple of these other overtake attempts, be able to work his way back up to Moisen and take that position back?
Well, we will tune in with that battle later. Now let's head over to this battle for P7 as BB has passed both Dave Hassar and Kieran Fox. For P7, he has moved up so many positions here at Suzuka. He started P28 and now is up to P6.
And that is no easy feat. It's to somebody who's not driving these cars or watching a lot of motorsport, you may just think, well, I mean, if he's just got really commanding pace, he's just going to fly up that field. But that is not how it usually ends up working out. To be able to not just have the pace, having pace is one thing. Being able to continue to have that pace while you're getting through traffic is something entirely different. And Biambi making it look like it is child's play, making up almost, where did you say he started?
P28.
P28, so passing 22 cars to get himself up into 6th place here, and it looks like he is running away from that pack there, now battling for P7, and it looks like he's going to have his chance to go fight Thornton here for 5th place if he continues to keep his pace well. He's definitely got a lot of track to be able to work his way up there, but now that he's got clean air in front of him, he might just be able to do it. That'll be very interesting to watch to see if he catches up.
I hate to interrupt you. Now we have a change in P3. Don Bellinger off the track. Alexis Moison up into P3 now, and Thornton up into P4 again. And Don Bellinger is falling down to P5. I don't know what happened there, but he went off the track. And here we go once again for this battle. And now it is quite intense. Thornton really trying to find a little bit more pace against Alexis Moison. Now he knows that he could potentially get a podium, his first podium here at Apollo Racing Club in ACC.
Especially with the knowledge knowing that, hey, I've passed Alexis Moison before. All I got to do is make fewer mistakes or maybe have the better pace here and sneak his way back around. He's done it once. He will try to do it again. Will we see a podium out of our amateur who is having an amazing race today? And I am I'm filtering through that replay right now to try and see what happened to our previously third place driver there, Don Bellinger. Looking for the mistake here right now, or just how Moisen and Thornton managed to get around him there.
Brandon Gobes having a great race. He has Joe Rocky right behind him. He is currently P14, Brandon Gobes is, in that Lexus as they come through 130R. Very nice and clean through there. Gets into the braking zone, into the chicane now, and makes it on through nice and clean. And he's actually starting to create a little bit more of a gap now, and that gap has turned from 0.2 to now a half a second for the man. So see who else, if there's any really other big battles. It's just between right now for P7. This is Kieran Fox and Dave Hassar and Chipsy, who are all battling for this P7 position as they come up through the S's. A nice job there by Kieran Fox. He is driving quite well and defending against this BMW and Lexus as an Audi driver. So he's driving quite well. He's feeling very comfortable. He's P7. He's happy about his performance so far, for sure. Now we're seeing Thornton. He is trying to gain up some time, but that gap has increased now to Alexis Moison. That gap is now 1.6, and the gap to Bellinger behind Thornton has now gone to 1.1. 23 minutes to go here before we see the checkered flag. And McAdams, what do we got?
Well, so just an update on what the incident that happened that allowed Moisen and Thornton to make their way past Bellinger. And I actually got to give some praise to Bellinger here. It was the exit of the Dagner curves coming up into the hairpin, it would be, or spoon, it would be. He managed to, he ran wide and got in the sand, and the car was, as near as makes no difference, 90 degrees, perpendicular to the track, and the man managed to whip the back end back around and get it going straight. Unfortunately, cost him 2 positions, but it does not look like that would have put him out of the race, and that is a difficult feat to achieve for any driver. So hats off to Bellinger for being able to keep that car back on the track and get back in the race. And it looks like he is still going to be able to compete for 4th place, as Alexis Moisen seems to be running away from the other 2 cars that are now battling for 4th position.
Looking at the battle for 7th now, Kieran Fox doing a nice job still defending against these 3 cars, especially Dave Hassar. Dave Hassar, a very fast driver. You can tell he's trying to get up on the back bumper of this Audi. But Kieran Fox is doing a nice job just controlling the throttle and braking through the S's. Very confident, very stable in that Audi.
Also looks like we've got a couple of battles going on. Too many to try and click through, but it looks like we got a battle for P11 between Ryan Barker in 13th, Ice Tin in 12th, and Giordano holding him off in 11th. Looks like Kimball's a little far away from them to consider that a battle for 10th, but that is going on, and it looks like farther back in the field, a battle for 18th position between Dave Grills, Ainzu, and Craig Bray, respectively. A lot of action going on in this track today, and that is what we want to watch. And I wish there was a way for us to show them all at the same time, but a lot of action all over the place at this track. It's got to be an exciting time to be a driver in this race right now.
It hasn't been dry in a while, so these guys are taking advantage of every single minute of it to get some racing done and show off what they can do here. As Dave Grills, he's having to fend off another Porsche of Alan Zhu.
Ooh, with Gobes losing it a little bit in the hairpin there right in front of him, this now may become a battle for, that would be P17. No, Brandon Gobes, where is he? No, he's quite a bit ahead of them. Maybe the standings just haven't updated for me yet.
Yeah, he's supposed to be P14 unless he had an accident.
He did lose control in the hairpin. It looked like he managed to get it back on the track and under his control, just as these drivers we were watching previously caught up to him in the hairpin. Now he is fighting for P17, that would be. Yeah, it just updated on the standings with a 9-second time loss for him in that hairpin. Not what he was hoping for there.
Looks like I do have a notification. He was involved with an accident with Joe Rocky, because Joe Rocky also was involved in that as well. But he benefited from it, moves into P15 now. But Brandon Gobes, I think he has a little bit of damage on this Lexus as he goes through the grass, and that's going to give this Porsche of Dave Grills an opportunity to get him on the straight. He's getting right into the slipstream, right into the back bumper of this Lexus. Tries to make a move on the inside. Can he get it done? No, he does not. And Brandon Gobes does a nice job getting away from him.
Yep, well defended by Brandon Gobes there. That is a difficult move to try and make in the Porsche. It is very fast, but with that engine in the back, the balance can be tricky to manage sometimes. And if you try to turn too much in that car, the back end wants to be the front, and that could have been the race over for Grills. So excellent, very well negotiated by him, with Ainzu lighting him up with the blinkers behind him. Zhu trying to tell Grills, hey, I need to get past you. You're slowing me up. But Grills is under no obligation to do that. And in my opinion, should not. He's now fighting for 17th position, trying to get that from Grills. Ainzu squeezing Grills there on the outside, but filters back behind him as they come through the Danger curves. Wilkins recovering from a spin right in front of them. These 4 cars, are they going to be able to get past him? It does look like Timmy Wilkins is going to let him. Yeah. Opting for the safe pass rather than try to force his way into that battle for position, and that is a smart decision from him.
Alan Zhu now really trying to reel in Dave Grills in the Porsche. It's a Porsche versus Porsche battle, and there's an Aston Martin slowly creeping up behind him, and that's Craig Bray in the Aston Martin. Let's check in with this battle here up in the front. That's kind of increased now. Wait a minute. What's happened to Don Bellinger now? He has fallen back because Biambi has moved up in the 5th position.
That I can't even comment on that. It's just incredible. I mean, this is a driver who was at one point almost 13 seconds behind these cars and has just marched his way up to the front. And it looks like he's found himself in some more clean air as he is weaving his way through the S's in that number 1 Audi. Definitely making the case for why he has that number on the side of his car. He is having the drive of a lifetime here. Having not a very great qualifying session, whether it was just he couldn't link together a clean lap and didn't get the time on the board, or maybe just didn't qualify very well, but he is racing as if the other cars aren't even on the track, because he's now passed well over 20 cars, making his way up to participate in that battle for third position, coming up behind Thornton, and is almost certainly going to be whittling down that gap. With only 17 minutes to go, I have no doubts that Thornton will be seeing the front of that Audi before the race is over.
Yeah, Thornton, he better be ready to go here with 16 minutes to go before the checkered flag drops. Biambi, wow, I'm very impressed by this man. He is absolutely insane. I am so glad to see him back up here in the front. Last week, he didn't have the greatest, 2 weeks ago, I should say, did not have the greatest of races, I would say. So, to see him in the top 5 now and even pushing, now it's that gap down to 11 seconds behind Thornton. And Bellinger, I don't know what happened to him and why Biambi was able just to get past everybody like that. So, but now Kieran Fox and Dave Hassar, they're still having their battle here as now they're going into the chicane, and Dave Hassar hits Kieran Fox, and that is going to be a position for Dave Hassar. Dave Hassar in that Waluigi Racing BMW, and of course it had to be in a form of an accident. Doesn't surprise me with that tiny grill in front in that BMW.
Hey, a position's a position at the end of the day, and maybe the two of them just had a disagreement on what the pace through that corner should be, but it does look like Hassar is going to run away from it, with Chipsy not far in tow coming into the S's with quite the gap to the next car, Don Bellinger in the Lamborghini, about 7 seconds ahead of the two of them.
Ryan Barker now increasing and decreasing the gap onto Fife, or Joshua Kimball. That's now 1.8 seconds. He's looking very strong in that Nissan. Looks very comfortable to drive right now through those S's. See who else out there. Melon Pitchum. Man, we thought we were going to see a really good race from him. What a beautiful livery that is. I don't know if you've seen that livery yet, but that is absolutely gorgeous.
Gotta love the psychedelic tie-dye looking thing, and Pitch is known for the creative custom skins wherever he can get away from them, usually going for eyesores, in the man's own words. But this one turning out to be pretty aesthetically pleasing, if I'm being completely honest. And
now there's a yellow flag in the S's. Who is that?
Number 709. Let's see if I can find that quickly.
709, that's Craig Bray, and he is into the pits. That is going to be his night for sure, as he now falls down into 24th. Not the best race from him tonight, sadly and unfortunately. But now this gap between Thornton and Alexis Moison is now 6.5 seconds. The amateur driver now falling off the pace a little bit, because guess who is coming up behind him? Biambi, now 9.7 seconds back from Thornton.
Yeah, and it is going to be exciting to see what happens once Biambi does catch him. And I say once because I really do believe that gap is going to evaporate in the remaining 13.5 minutes of this race. Thornton is going to need to focus up and keep putting down some fast lap times, as he has a difficult time through those S's. It looks like currently 1.5 seconds off of his best lap. Still a quick lap time, but is it going to be enough to be able to fend off Biambi, who has made it very clear that he is not settling for the position that he started in for this race? Currently in P5, whittling down that gap to Thornton, now down just at 6 seconds, it looks like, as it fluctuates a little bit, just trying to figure out those timings, but nonetheless, he is getting closer, and he is getting closer quickly. Thornton not going to be able to have a comfortable race for too much longer if he doesn't find the pace he started this race with.
He's currently in P4. If he finishes there, that would be the best finish he has had. Even if he finishes P5, I think he'll be quite satisfied with that. Let's check in with our winner from last week, Tony Giordano. Yes, I learned how to say his name properly. He and I had a conversation. He sent me a message, and I appreciate his message. He said we do a nice job with the cast, and told me how to pronounce his last name, and I appreciate the man saying that and doing that for me. So, but Tony Giordano right now, currently in P10. not winning the race, but he is pretty fast in that Audi as he is going through Spoon right now. He's currently having a battle with Fife a little bit farther back in P11, but Ryan Barker, he in that Nissan, he is maybe going to be looking to get involved in this scrap with the final 12 minutes remaining here.
Yeah, and that pack, it is a long one, but with 12 minutes remaining, not a lot of distance between those cars. It's right now they're close enough to where if one of them does make a mistake, has an off track or spins, really anything unfortunate happens to them, there's not a lot of breathing room for these drivers to try and maintain their position if they are the one that makes the mistake. So this battle for 10th place, I would say that it is between about 6 cars. It's going to be very interesting to watch as we get to the final stages of this race. And in a 45-minute race, these cars are going to be pushing to their limits, not worrying so much about tire conservation as Giordano loosens the back end up coming through that first corner, but manages to keep it on the track at the exit, going into the beginning of the S's. Hopefully he can keep it nice and composed there. But as I was saying, these cars are going to be having some pretty aggressive tire wear as these drivers are pushing them to their limits. 45 minutes is not a lot of time to be able to make positions up, so they're going to be pushing as hard as they can. These cars are going to be getting tired here. Tires are going to be worn. The grip is going to be down. It's going to be very interesting to see how these cars keep themselves on the track as these drivers are fighting for positions across the entire track right now. With Giordano coming around the dangers with Fife and Smacks right there behind him. Barker not far behind, with 2 cars right in tow behind Barker coming up into the hairpin there. But looking back over at Biambi there, storming up the straight coming into 130R. Looks like he's got Thornton's name on the front of his grill right there. We'll see if he's able to reel him in with 10 minutes remaining in the race here. Thornton doing a very good job of keeping the gap between the two of them. But if we're looking at their last laps as any indication of what this is going to look like, we had a 2:04.0 out of Thornton last lap. Looks like he's getting ready to set a 2:03.8, with Biambi doing a 2:02.4 the previous lap and getting ready to set a lap time of 2:01.7. So he is reeling him in by almost 2 seconds a lap right now. It looks like we'll see if we can keep the pace there. Thornton going to have to drive his heart out to try and stay in front of Biambi with 9 minutes remaining in this race. This is not going to be handed to him. Biambi will catch him. He's got enough time. We'll see what happens before the race ends. Let's see, where are you looking at? Andrew Warden, our race leader out there. No surprises here, has absolutely run away with it. Makes me wonder if he was being entirely honest about Suzuka not being his strongest track, because he is making it look as if it is mincemeat. The man is called an alien for many reasons, because human beings shouldn't be able to drive as fast as he does. He is earning that nickname right now.
He is driving quite well, 22 seconds over Tommy Kogan. Thought there would be a challenge tonight from the 2 teammates, but sadly Kogan not quite there on the pace. The best lap right now from Andrew Warden is a 2:05, so we haven't seen anybody under 2 minutes as he goes over the curb there of that chicane.
Yeah, and even in mentioning that he has I just looked at his best and last. His best lap of 2 minutes with 0.5 of a second. His last lap, 2 minutes and 0.8 of a lap with him setting a 2:01.2 there. He has had that pace locked down this entire time, and that is a crazy quick pace to hold on to for 45 minutes, making it look like there is no difficulty involved in his ability to play this game. As he is now charging up on he's getting ready to start lapping traffic here with the number 742 car there in the back of Timmy Wilkins. He's going to be dealing with Warden here pretty quick.
Well, looking at Thornton now, Thornton is just having to sit there and just wait. And that is the worst feeling as a driver that you can have, knowing that the man behind you is faster than you. And you just have to just wait until they show up to really have a chance at your position, because unless BMB just has a massive shunt, I really don't see what Thornton having to drive home comfortably, as we see a drive-through penalty come in for Joe Rocky now. And that is going to be, what number is Joe Rocky? Is number 166.
Yep. currently in position 15. And it is a close battle down there. That is going to be pretty detrimental to his race finish. That's unfortunate, but those track limit warnings will get you if you're not careful. Thornton losing the back end, coming through dangers, allowing Biambi to reel him in just a little bit. And I hopped on the onboard of Thornton's car. He, if he wasn't already, he knows Biambi's there now because he's showing up in the rear view as the two of them come through the hairpin. Thornton running wide, not getting the braking power he was looking for out of that Mercedes. Biambi is reeling him in. Now just looks like less than 2 seconds between those cars. Thornton doesn't have a choice but to know that that Audi is coming for the position that he is in, that he is going to have to start defending here pretty soon. 2 seconds is not a lot. The pressure is now on him as we begin the final stages of this race, and we are going to have a battle for 4th place between the amateur Thornton and Biambi in the number 1 Audi, coming for that position to take it away from him as they come up the straight into 130R.
And if I'm Thornton's, if I'm in Thornton's ear, if he had an actual engineer, I'd just be telling, just run your laps, man. Just wait for him to come to you, because the more time you're gonna worry about him catching up to you, you're the slow, you're gonna just lose your pace and everything. So just keep it one lap at a time. When he shows up, who knows what could happen? Warden could be crossing the start finish line with 1 minute on the clock. It's a 2 minute lap. So if Warden crosses the line with under 2 minutes to go, the white flag will be waved here at Suzuka, and that means it is the final lap, which could work in Thornton's advantage. Now, if the white flag doesn't come out until the time is up, and that means Thornton starts his lap 2 minutes plus, a lap 2 minutes plus, then it doesn't work in Thornton's advantage, because you can see this gap. It's shrinking, but not at the rate you would think to make a move with 2 minutes to go.
No, and that is something to keep in mind. They were a second's difference between their previous laps there, but 1 second at Suzuka, depending on where it is not going to be enough to mean that Biambi is going to have an easy time passing Thornton. We've seen that Thornton defends very well under pressure, utilizing the power of that AMG engine sitting in the front of that car there to make sure that he is holding on to positions and defending well. And it looks like that defense is going to have to start kicking in here pretty soon, as Biambi has narrowed that gap down to less than a second, exiting Spoon, going into the straight leading into 130R.
Well, I hate to be this guy right now, but Alexis Moison has made the charge now up to Tommy Kogan, who he's only 3 seconds behind him, actually. That's a little bit insane if you think about it, because these 3 Aston Martins today, they've been very, very quick. But looking back at now this battle, 4 minutes on the clock. Is it going to be close? Where is Andrew Warden on track right now? He is coming in.
He's going through the dangers right now, so he'll be going through Spoon, or going through the hairpin next, then followed by Spoon. So he's about halfway through his lap right now.
Oh boy, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. Calculating in my head where he's at right now. Oh boy, Thornton, you better defend for your life, son, if you want to hold on to that P.
I think there's 2 laps left in this race. I think there's 2 more laps left in this race.
You think there's 2 laps? Well, let's see what happens here. Let's head over to Thornton, who is coming into Spoon now. Oh no. You're exactly right. There's going to be 2 minutes. There's going to be 2 laps left in this race. Actually, that could work in Thornton's advantage. Never mind, because the gap is turned into 2/10. Now Biambi going off track, coming into the danger. He loses it coming into the braking zone, so that gap is going to open up quite a bit, and that's going to work in Thornton's favor as they come into the hairpin, but he has to find a way to get on the inside. He's not done a great job of that all night, and he does as Biambi follows him through the hairpin now as they come around down the straight into Spoon. And this is where Thornton really is fast. He is he's trying to find the pace. He's consistent. He's a second off his delta right now. 2 minutes, 30 seconds to go here as Andrew Warden.
has crossed the start-finish line before he is given the final lap of the race. There are going to be 2 more laps left in this race, which means that battle for 4th place is going to get tight as they are bumper to bumper coming into 130R, and Biambi is going to make an effort to try and pass him, and 130R up the inside backs off and filters through as Thornton runs a little bit wide, both of them following each other, going a little wide off the track, but managing to keep the cars under control as they come into that final chicane. Biambi cannot do anything to try and get around that AMG right now, and they're going to come down the start-finish straight, and both of them knowing they've got another 2 laps of driving that they're going to have to put up with this, with Biambi thinking, I've got 2 more laps to make this pass happen, and Thornton thinking, I've got 2 laps to keep this car behind me, and Biambi is going to do everything that he can to try and get that position. We know that he is not just letting cars stay in front of him. He is fighting for every position to try and make as strong of a finish as he can here, and he has now got Thornton in front of him going into the S's, a very difficult part of the track to try and pass, and both of these drivers now are just going to be trying to keep the car on the track as Biambi has taken some pretty aggressively wide lines, just making sure Thornton is not getting a chance to forget that Audi is behind him coming up into the exit of the S's. Biambi right on his tail on the inside line. Thornton runs a little bit wide, but it looks like they're both going to get a good exit coming into the Dangers. They're going to be, just inches behind the car coming into the Danger curves here. And Biambi doing an incredible job of managing to avoid contact there. I'll be looking at the replay of that after the race to see how close that was to a disastrous incident for both of those cars, as it looks like Thornton does get the better of the exchange, staying in front of the Audi in the hairpin, but only just as they come into the exit, coming up the hill into Spoon. We'll see what happens there, because Biambi is still in striking distance with 40 seconds left on the clock. There will be another lap for these 2 drivers. We'll see what happens here. As race control just now determines the leader is on the final lap, both of these cars will have another lap to complete once they make their way to the start-finish line. The race for 4th position is not over yet, folks.
It is not over yet, and I can already see there's a 3-way battle now for P10. We will go to that here shortly, but we can't take our eyes off this battle. Is now Biambi trying to make a move down the inside as they come into 130R, but Thornton, he's way too fast as they come into the final chicane. And Thornton, he is so quick in that Mercedes, and breaks quite evenly. And now Biambi, he collides with Thornton, and Thornton, he gets a little bit loose, but Biambi, he's going to be respectful. He's going to let up and allow Thornton to get his pace back. He knows that was not nice of him to do, and good sportsmanship by the man trying to compete for this position. And now the race is on. Final lap for P4 here at Apollo Racing Club out of Suzuka. And Thornton, he's going to get a little bit loose going into turn number 1. Biambi has to let up a little bit. But Thornton, he's going to defend for his life here. He knows he has to do everything in his power to try and keep this position. These 2 are racing maniacs here tonight at Apollo Racing Club as they go through the SS. Biambi, he's being very, very respectful here. He knows if he runs in the Thornton's definitely going to go to the stewards with that right away. You can't. It's going to be politics no matter what. Biambi looking down the inside, and he goes wide, and that's going to be Thornton's spot to take now. And as they come through from Dagon and going towards the hairpin, Thornton gets a lucky break there.
It's not over yet, though, because Biambi is reeling him back in by the 10th of a second. I don't think he's going to be able to do it, because even if he does cast, he spins in the hairpin. And Thornton is going to finish this race in P4, and not an easy second of the race for him. What an incredible drive out of our amateur, who is now going to finish in P4 unless lightning strikes his car in the next 30 seconds.
Well, Andrew Warden has come across the line, but we're going to go right to P10 now, because this battle is absolutely insane for P11 as Joshua Kimball and Niall Drake are going at each other in to Dagon, going towards the hairpin, and guess who's right behind him? It's Ryan Baker, who's going to be looking to capitalize if somebody makes a mistake. Here's Joshua Kimball now into the hairpin. Niall Drake looking on the outside, but that's not the line. And now Ryan Baker is going to have an opportunity to get a position here coming down the hairpin, coming down into Spoon. But Thornton comes across the line. That is going to be P4 for the man. And now Biambi in P5. Don Ballinger now coming down into the chicane. And that's going to be P6 on his debut here. Dave Hassard coming in P7. But wow, what a race we got here, because we're going to continue to follow through the order here. It was just a lot of action happening in this dry race at the final stages of this. We weren't quite able to get towards every person crossing the line, but there goes Chipsy going P8. Great race from him. Kieran Fox going P9, and now and here comes our the rest of the top 10 with Tony Giordano and Joshua Kimball, Niall Drake, and Ryan Baker all finishing 10 through 13. Easton coming across the line. He'll be coming in P14. What a great race from him. Blue Cow coming in P15. Nice, consistent race from him. Brandon Gobes coming home. He's still having to fend off Mr. Daniel Wright. I feel, is that Daniel Wright there? No, it is not. And he'll be coming home in P16. The man in P17, yes, that was Daniel Wright, and he comes home in P17 after racing hard. Big Bark in the Porsche comes home in P18. Dave Girls coming in P19. Alan Zhu in P19. Joe Rocky in P20. So there's everything for you. That's it. That's the race, and that was one heck of a great race, McAdams.
Absolutely. Not a dull second from the green lights to the checkered flag. Something entertaining to watch across the entire field at Suzuka Circuit tonight, with an absolutely monster race to our friend Thornton there in the AMG, with what is surely the race of his lifetime up until this point. He's going to be feeling very proud of that finish.
He had a great race. Andrew Warden claiming it yet another victory here at Apollo Racing Club. But Alexis Moison and Tommy Cogan picking up the rest of the podiums there, and with Thornton in P4. And then, who was it in P5? That was
that would have been Biambi.
Biambi in P5. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had a great evening of racing here. I'm glad you could join us on Twitch and also on YouTube. So make sure to hit the follow button and subscribe on YouTube, and hit the notification bell to know when we go live. Well, tomorrow night we have F1 2020 Tier 1 at Monaco. Make sure to tune in for that at 9 Eastern. For everybody here at Apollo Racing Club, for McAdams and myself, have a great night, and we'll see you on the track soon.
Night, everybody.